3 o'clock. Welcome to Flatrock Poetry Open Mic. It's so good to see everybody. I wanted to read a couple of poems first and not drag it out or anything, but I wanted to read a couple of poems. I got 5, so I can't decide which ones to read. If I yell out the titles, would you guys decide which one I should read? You cool with that? You cool with that? Okay. The first one is called Despite the News. Next, Carnival. December Dialectics and Physics, which I thought might cool us off a little bit. Once a made-up word called Gardis, if I could say it, Gardastatica in, which is about my garden, and Strings and Things. I can't decide.
The first one you called out.
The first one, Despite the News?
Yes.
Okay, I wrote that one this week. Warriors drive up to turn corners precisely, thumping bass and slogans, codes, brand names, simulated elevation, rank. It is the time of butterflies, sirens, engines roar, butterflies oblivious eat from the flowers with bees. Goldfinches, smart as canaries, eat seeds from dying flowers. The news is mostly bad every day. Hear the voices needing signature, money, desperation. They hit it hard from multiple angles. Who and how to rise up. March, vote, sign petitions, write letters, speak up without knowing if it will work. Our responsibility to listen, to care, show compassion. Warriors go thumping with bass lines, precision. Birds eat the seeds from the dead flowers I leave for them. Seeds fall to the ground, like every one of us. Potential right there. Ready. Rise up. So do you want to start the open mic or do you want to hear another poem? It's totally up to you guys.
The last one you called out.
The last one? Okay.
And then Carnival sounds cool too, but
Okay, cool. This one's from the 80s. I think this is a college poem. Strings and Things. Anything like dreams. Maybe it was because it had been so long now had it been it repeating itself. She had been repeating it to herself in sequence and pattern, like strings, like webbing, like silkworms in her factory mind, weaving. With her fingers so long, you hear that she hadn't quite noticed. She was capable of weaving anything at all. So easy somewhere to wish away the clutter, banding it to a corner while she wove with flying fingers, flying strings, turning and dancing a weaver's ancient rhythm until she was living cloth, life to lace, now with her back to the corner, now rummaging for one lost thing, now talking to herself, talking to the spiders about technique. With her back to it, making lace and memories, curses, charms out of nothing, out of string, out of herself. Maybe it was because it begged her to lace her long witch fingers in the threads, dye them, pull them into pastel, exotic, bizarre, opalescent, black and mescaline brights, weave them into friendship bracelets, lover's necklace, family ties. Maybe it was because it had been so long, the thread of something always falling into her hands, snaking, spiraling out of the ceiling, the walls, the floor, from the earth beneath and beyond, a plural of infinities. Connection. Maybe it was because it had been so long since it had been anything like dreams. Thank you. Well, let's start. Do we have any more poets? Sign up. No? Okay. All right, first off, we have Vinu. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks. So this is a poem about chess, and just like in life, chess is ruled by the queen, and the king is just an imposter. Okay. So, with a wicked scorn, she fronts with her pawn. As you step to the square unaware, you better beware. With a candle in hand, she rides her lone-eyed horse, and she rides him with no remorse. Her will stirs his gallant moves, swift and upon bronze-plated hooves. Leather reins choke his bloodshot veins. Her beast of burden squeals with pain. Her bishop, castrated by his promise, cloaked in veil, forever derailed. Diagonal, the path that ain't divine, only meant for a rotten, God-forsaken swine. Don't let her fool you with that rook, that seemingly straight-laced crook. Perched upon the watchtower, he stomps and trumpets, ready for battle. But if the king insists, he would readily castle. Demure and seemingly pure, the queen, with velvet rouge upon her lips and the shadow dance of the seductive hips. The dark maze of a moaning mind, madness brewing, thoughts born to manifest a devilishly divine brine. But the survival of her clan, her vicious master plan, perhaps her stillborn fawn, no longer a pawn, treads each square to spawn her very mom. Now, my king, your birth shrouded, illegitimate acclaim, fruit of a peachy royal flushed womb, an audience present as you enter the world screaming, also present as you enter your tomb. Bestowed by the power of the Almighty, your self-proclaimed rule a heavenly duty, staff in hand and mighty cross upon your head, irreverent, immobile, wishing we all were dead, the insecurity of your crown, the burden so heavy you could drown. Your coward-like reign filled with prophecy and pain, trapped by the queen, you're now in quarantine. Check, she shrieks as she takes hold, her eyes aflame red and serpent gold. The wax overflows, her neck craned to amaze, lips parted, bestowed with radiance and muse-like grace. Impenetrable her countenance, diabolical her hyena gait, hermaphrodite giggling, only on a moonlit night will she mate. 64, your mother, once a queen, gifted you each square, trapped by the queen, now you've got none to spare. Sinister, not dexter, you've been played for a jester. Silk, her heretic thoughts mesmerize, sneak, and raptures your mind. Fear, the dark glow ensues as you feel this life leave you behind. Mad, swine-like, dark dungeon walls now hear you wail. Molten metals sharpened, now shown, await your impale. Sodomized before your very eyes, you realize that your lord, wicked and wise, was just a disguise. Thank you.
That was brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. I love the visual. And we show you the colors, everything. It's awesome. Okay, next we have, I believe, D.W. Leh, L-E-H. No? Is this Percy? Is this
Yeah.
you? Okay. I'm sorry, Percy Warner Lee.
Yeah, but I'm PW.
PW.
I don't go to the, I go to the, but actually look for, absolutely. They disclaimed me long ago. They're all at the beach, I'm here. Okay. I'm going to do, there's so many cars here, I'm going to do a car poem, if you don't mind, first. And then, I have a lot of car poems, but then after that, I'm going to try a poem I tried earlier and failed at. Let's just see how this works. I don't know this. I should be able to recite this. Pat rides his tires until the thread shows through. Made love to Joanne and then was casual about it. When I asked her, she said it was none of my business. Later, she said it was because he was free. And that new job I got, they say there's a lot of room at the top for a boy who doesn't mind hard work. And I plan to stick with it too. At least until I save me enough money to make a down payment on a late model Chevy. I'm going to fix it up real nice, polish it, so when the moon is bright, the shine will catch it and hold it, and others can see what good things can be done. And I think about dating Joanne too, after hours when the night is settled, and there's no confusion as to the naming of stars, as to a cool wind condensing, moist drops of dew, alabaster of grass still green with spring. Okay. Should I try this?
Should.
Okay. These are the last dispatches from Billy the Kid. Some of you may have heard this, and some of you may have heard me Just go blank. Okay, the first dispatch. He looked to be the same age as me, but no one here is calling it a fair fight. Lincoln County wars. I tell you, there weren't many to see the scene. A frightened fighter's outspoken noise. Blood on the floor. All over the exuberance of being wanted. Of being fastest through the seconds where brevity is understood to mean business. To mean your fair game for any young gun looking to make a name for himself. All right, kid, let's see how fast you are. So I waited. I waited until he began to second guess himself. Until the sweat from his brow began to blur his vision. The deadliness of how quick it ends pales in another man's eye. It's drowned out by the bartender's call for another round of drinks. Officially standing in the insanity that has passed, you want to ask the crowd that is gathered, what made him do a crazy thing like that? Who told him it was okay to try and kill somebody? The second dispatch from Billy the Kid. New Mexico is fine, but Pat Garrett has got to go. Just off the trail, a town's memories are a sequence of superstition. Glossy foldouts calculated to give a rise to the R royalty orchestrated by Gwen Dyson, by the sum total of having a price on your head. Hell, I told you it was a kid. Shit, you don't have to tell me nothing. I knew it was a kid as soon as I saw his guns. Kid, how many notches you got in those guns? Dramatics moralize foretell. History authenticating himself. Old-timers who now walk with a cane will outlive the living legend. Add to him a theology, one made conclusive by the determination of lead to steal everything to a single suggestion. Pat Garrett was right in what he did. The kid deserved to die. This is the third dispatch from Billy the Kid. Pat Garrett wants something from me that I ain't never seen, and that's justice. J for the child who has felt to the venom. This aspect of life is primitive as society. The hard life that you take on the road repeats itself in hopes of finding something better. The consensus of history carries a grudge, not against the rich man, for their behavior is condoned by the amount of money they made, but against the poor man, the angry man. For them, there is only the inferred admonishment of Cain, a wanted poster with the punishment wanted dead or alive. This is the last dispatch from Billy the Kid. There is a tacit agreement between the sun and the moon. As one leaves, the other must come to take its place. So it is in this world, as I have watched it carefully and studied it hard. Why I shot Billy Gordon? All I can say was he was one of my best friends. The same is true for the Lincoln County wars. I never enlisted. It was John Chisholm who came up to me and said, Billy, they had just shot one of my best heads. This time we got to fight with fire. This time we got to fight fire with fire. Well, what was I to do? Tell John Chisholm that I'm scared? That I don't want to die inside anymore? Then everyone will say that the kid had gone yellow, that he was never nothing more than a coward. Well, I want everybody to know I hated being called a kid. I hated it like I hated being raw bone and bucktooth. But Pat Garrett comes for me. I want everybody to know the kid will be ready with guns blazing from the hip. But I also want everybody to know that William Bounty don't hold no grudges. Only the steepest of sympathy for him. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was great characterization, very evocative of that time. Great job. All right, next we have Dana Malone. Dana was our featured in May. Yes. Awesome.
I challenge Shawn Stallings to write odes to all, 17 hamburgers that he ate during Nashville Burger Week. So just, I'm laying it down. The pictures were good. How will the poems sound? Good for you. I mean,
Challenge accepted.
Yes, good. So this day last year, I had the privilege of reading in a round with my stepson Shawn and his father-in-law Michael Williams. And Michael is a poet and storyteller who who left this world far too soon, and I wrote this poem based on the story he told me. Ballad of the Matron Saint of Stewart County, Tennessee. What is that blood my boy wears on the porch after I am dead and gone? Sure as my sorry George Washington cherry is spoken of no more. Son, come home to the cabin and tell it to me now. Why do you lie cut before the lectern, scissored by pins and insults? Whose ghost is this chapped to your marrow, limbic sting of a high horse saying you're no count? I've an apron for your blood and tears after whippings, so tell it to me now, from the winter frozen side of the make-do door, the strap of the lean-to house across the holler, leather supple as the wind in a storm is sideways. Auntie, I say, it took years to find a Cherokee across a fire to bundle me and write him down, snatch Cain and Abel to feed the handmaid and bound page. Auntie, I wrote it with the blood of voices from back roads and house trailers, mansions whose dwellers tremble and cannot hide in poems. O son, scribe of a heart's needle, tell it with the high king of heaven, carve windows in the make-do dwelling, take pen and ink for your journey, and above all, make this porch your lectern, every creak in it, saying, don't you ever stop. No, don't you ever. And this is, do I have? Yeah. This is a poem that's a call and response. It's a found poem, which is from a letter that Betty Page, who was a pinup girl and actress, who was the inspiration for Betty Boop, but you know who she was. And she was 16 years old and wrote this letter to the Tennessean. Funny thing, Betty Page letter to the editor, 1939. So many letters in the forum regarding the shocking display, abbreviated attire, speaking my PIEC, peace. Specimens of the male element have written, allows her body to be exposed, outrageously exposed, lower than a member of the canine family. Funny to me how all the men would walk 50 miles, break their necks to see a girl in her bathing suit. I don't think I've exaggerated. Male sex will sit up and talk about opposite sex, their legs, but I wager no man today would escort a woman covered, completely covered from head to foot. In Family Detention March, Nashville, Tennessee, June 30th, 2018. Funny thing, Betty Page, the outrage parades, we mouth it, few words to clothe, we have edited the unnecessary, still they clad us in gawk. We are barking in Dragon Park today, wearing loose, short, light, as gauzy as possible, carrying fighting for hot and sweaty children. We are the swollen teats of mothers whose children apart in cages and no paperwork, lower than a canine family to some men in the White House. We don't think we've exaggerated the need to say this. This is our letter, written in water from neck to crevice, hottest between our breasts. Everywhere in Nashville, it's 1939, 18XX, 2018.
Wow, that was so amazing, Dana. Hey, thank you. Now we have Robert Stone.
never done this before. I'm going to read haiku.
Yeah.
Some of you know that I've started writing a haiku every day in a numbered series a long time ago. And today is day 2538. They're all up on the internet that I did not put up. But anyway, I started out doing this and that and the other, but in recent years I've gone through writing reflections on all the books in the Anna Green Gables series, and when I finished, I'm now writing reflections on Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. And the ones I'm going to read today go in the book from the point where Huck has decided to turn Jim in, but he doesn't do it, and Jim is saying, "You're the only white man who ever treated me the way I ought to be treated," down to the point where the king and the dolphin appear in this story. So this is where the Grangerfords are having their feud and shooting each other and killing each other off most of the time. Okay. To hear yourself called only one who kept promise makes promise precious. Have something catching will easily persuade folks to keep far from you. Learning to do right, if one does not start out young, is missing a backup. Step into a feud without knowing that you have, and death surrounds you. Question or riddle, not obvious to someone who knows no riddles. Family and friends point out for their potential poets dying young. You want around you those who make it seem sunshine when it is cloudy. Two kinds of beauty, gentle and sweet and peaceful, proud and grand when calm. Ignoring safety, proud face those they want to kill and may not live to tell. When pride starts prompting, fighting for sake of fighting, first cause fades away. What seems innocent may lead to tragic actions and blaming oneself. Expecting bad news, can anything sound so good as hearing friend's voice? Any other place seems cramped up and smothery compared to a raft. Our floating downstream, nothing to see nor to hear, solid lonesomeness. With no onlookers, unclothed is comfortable without mosquitoes. How stars came to be, whether made or just happened, good friends may differ. When anybody is after anybody, strayed thinks must be me. Thank you.
That was delightful, Robert. Thank you so much. All right, now we have Richard Nelson.
I would like to read two poems. The first one I call On Conditions. The tendency is to be controlled by circumstances, and though we need to act well, how we react tells where we are, at least at the moment. And I've really dealt with conditions around me and not let them rule my life, but have something inside stronger than what confronts me. On Conditions. The common rendition about the impact of conditions is an open lie about personal things. We're born to think that things which are should guide our lives like a bird its wings. But I'm here to protest this lamely duress and chart here a course to tear the lie down. For it's just not right though we warp our sight and be grilled by the rage of this clown. For it's just not true that lies need imbue our minds with his gold-quenching wine. For conditions, at best, are an indicative behest, but they never should be our measuring line. So then turn up the heat with denials replete that how things are is how they must be, and set higher sights above barriers and plights, and straighten that path which others can't see. Conditions will come and conditions will go, but we must betray their negative toll as we few-sighted folks just broaden our strokes and make our way past conditions control. Thank you. The second one I like to read is I call On Becoming Truth. We live in an age where lies seem to be the truth, and truth somehow seem to be the lie. And being authentic seems to be kind of a rare thing. But I take the personal challenge that my life in the mirror be the life that you see. And although I surely fall short of that, I really hope that what I feel inside is the same you see outside, the better or the worse. So I'm becoming true. From whence rises that other face, like a ghost untimely appearing in its own time and space, like a whoresome witch boldly intruding, like a wasted wretch, the good face deluding, lying ghost obese with growth on hidden matter, like a harassing hound, the better face would shatter. As a drunken clown, mocking true-faced verity, imposing guilt and regret on what had been clarity. Secret face, fighting with that face more true, battling for dominion over the soul of who will win, which face will prevail, the true face with a truer trail, or the secret ghost with the deceiver's tale. The goodly face with sainted wings, or the hidden face with vultured things. Let's two faces jointly live and die in the face of one as a split face lie. Let truth feed more, the better, and let the hidden face become its debtor. For sincerity weeps at hypocrisy's door, when the seeking heart seeks the truth no more. Thus, may strength in secret be strong within the false, to truly keep it. Let truth in heart and soul consume within from part to whole, until more and more the latter end, the double face withers to one heart mends, until the hidden face and the public one no more disgrace truth by deceitful division, but put tale to lie, and place false in derision, and place union of face and union of heart in truth's embedding as its anchored part. Rise then, single face, grow, double face, depart. In open or in secret, let truth become the only part, until the face is the man, and the man is true, until truth in his face shines through and through. Thank you.
Wow, Richard, that was amazing. So thought-provoking, you're very thoughtful. I really appreciate your self-reflection. Now we have Elle. Yay!
Hi. I'm going to read two. The first one I wrote because one day I took a wrong turn and I just kept going straight and I ended up in Indiana. So this is from one of my pit stops I made. called Malone Once Again. Lake Malone, a treat that Mother Gaia granted us. The tides sing to me in a deep baritone voice, waves crashing against the rocks as if saying it pains me more than you. I was supposed to be at Taco Bell, but life led me here, going straight into the unknown. The road became years of journey I feared to tread. I'm at peace. The wind raises my cheek with a sort of thank you for appreciating its beauty. Sitting mesmerized by the authenticity before my eyes, I'm longing for what lies beyond the bend. The itch is growing, and it's getting harder to put it at bay. Run off and get lost into the world, taking in more than the town I grew in, simply flying away. See, I want to spread my wings, take off into the sky and just glide. Like Ariel, I gave up my tail just to walk among you. Finally becoming normal, but in the process, I lost my voice. Finding it hard to stand up for myself, expressing my thoughts. What stands before you is a wall, not a person. And after that got caught up in her part. Well, they do say, fake it till you make it. This water, giant challenging trees, and open mind of freedom aren't faking it. After the waves leave me, they will visit again, screaming, we never left you, friend. We were just not as prominent. I believe we are all one energy, whether you're an old man sharing your past or a young woman creating her future. At some time, you'll witness the beauty bestowed within us. As a child, I hated people, dissociative, and found no reason to entertain myself with my own species. Growing older, the picture became bigger and clearer, opening my eyes to the light. I forgive people. The wrong seem to be unforgettable, but I see you are lost just like me, like we all are. There is no answers to life, no rule book, because this isn't a game. We are born, learn, grow, get old, and pass. What you do with in between is up to you. Most of all, I forgive myself for being cruel, throwing words at the reflection, repeating the misdirected anger others presented me with. I'm finding how to love me. Thank you, Lake Malone. This next one is called Carbonated Water because I hate it and it's disgusting. Okay. You tricked me. What you were selling and what you were going to give are totally different. You were supposed to be my cream soda daydream. Instead, it was a salty ride with emptiness flowing through. Why did I turn to you? The appeal of getting the flavor without the hateful calories that created hatred in my head? You made me face that with more. That lemon extract flavoring dried my mouth, describing the difficulty to talk, to form sentences, to appease you. I still find traces of you on my tongue. How can one erase a painful memory? Wasn't this all supposed to quench my thirst? Just know that next time I see you, there'll be a passing nod acknowledging your existence. But I'm not going to fall for your magic this time. Just going to walk away and leave soda alone. Immaturity is passing from me. We will lay it to rest this weekend. Pour carbonated water is the only time you'll be in my hands again. When the event is over, you're going back on your shelf and I'm walking away. Let's be real. You never wanted me to sip from the words you gave. We both are going to return to our own worlds and never look back. It just wasn't going to work out, huh? I was willing to try anything to make it wonderfully bearable for the both of us, but I failed. I'm sorry I failed. Please forgive me. It wasn't my intention to hurt either of us, but it happened. I wanted to be your poem, the one you couldn't hold back from letting your pencil flow, slowly becoming the words spilling out from your mouth. The words you used to convey that of a sunny day, sharing with the world your thoughts about the color blue. The one written to describe how low I feel. The one to create beautiful words describing the clear sky. But then again, carbonated cans can only do so much, and I can only stay vulnerable for so long. You missed your timing, late. The army cannot even enter through the walls I just put up. Like my hands, knowing I give up on trying to make others happy, trying to forge us together. Being the shape to make the bubbles multiply was a fake reality. I'm going to have to finally face it, aren't I? At some point, future Elle wanted to maybe say, you're the only one. Apparently neither of us got accustomed to that. I'm probably a short story in the book you published. It still feels nice to have known you. My unreal cream soda daydream.
So powerful. You're growing so much. I can tell in your writing. It's beautiful. Now we have our featured poet, Sandy Spencer Coomer. And I've got her bio here. She's a poet, an artist, an endurance athlete living in Brentwood, Tennessee. Her poetry has been published or is forthcoming in journals such as Sheila, Not Gig, Mud Season Review, Blaze, Fox, and the Comstock Review, among others. She's the author of 3 poetry chapbooks, including the most recent, Rivers Within Us, Unsolicited Press. She is the founding editor of the online poetry journal Rockville Review, the creator and curator of the Ekphrastic Poetry Project 2020 Vision, a poetic response to photography, as well as a poetry mentor in the AWP Writer to Writer Mentorship Program. Sandy is the founder and director of the soon-to-open Rockville Writers Colony, located in College Grove, Tennessee. Her favorite word is believe. Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you, Amy, for inviting me to be here today. And I do have to say that I am kind of a fill-in for Chance Chambers, who is going to be reading in October, so you guys got to come back and hear Chance. He couldn't be here today, but he is something not to be missed. I'll be here to hear Chance too. So I'm going to read a couple of poems from Rivers Within Us. This book has a lot of poems about rivers, and also some poems about religion and faith and what it means to believe in something. I read an article that was about people that found Jesus in their food. And that's a question about faith. Yeah, is that faith? I'm not sure. So I read a poem about it. It's called Eucharist. I study the birth of a potato chip that depicts the face of Jesus in its dark edges. I've heard of God spreading the love in pancakes and quesadillas, popping a grin among flour and oil, but a mass-produced junk food snack doesn't seem like the best venue for the Savior. I'd rather see Jesus in the dimpled marble of a labyrinth in Chartres, 11 rings of meditation and mirth, or hear him in the clear soprano of a boys' choir, the voices not yet tuned with the longing of manhood. I want my Jesus to be pure, with no hydrogenated oils, caramel color, or yeast extract. But this potato chip Jesus seems genuine. I lay it on the counter and wait for it to speak wisdom, like the orange that, when split, confides the crucifixion, like the pierogi that sold on eBay for $1,000 with a face that spoke of sacrifice and suffering. I want authentic doctrine. I want the cross and the foundation and the rock. I want everything. The orange, the pierogi, the base, the tenor, the path through the labyrinth and out again, the bread and the anointing oil, the burnt smile and the eyes. So hollow, so broken, I might mistake them for my own. So I'm going to read this poem. It's called Oracle. I don't know if you guys are soccer fans, but my boys are huge soccer fans, and they watched the World Cup this summer. I wrote this poem about a World Cup happening the last time, which I think it's every 4 years or every 2 years, I can't remember now. But in that year, there was an octopus that predicted the winners of all of the World Cup soccer games. So this is called Oracle. An octopus lingers over 2 square containers, each marked with the flag of a country vying for the World Cup championship. Tentacles oscillate in psychic confusion until the signal is clear, the choice made. The octopus descends over one container, snags a mussel, devours it. The prediction, broadcast across the globe, portends victory for the chosen, disaster for the rejected. Hordes of hate letters pour into the aquarium, death threats, calamari recipes, warnings of revenge. Love letters, too, overfill the mail slot, as well as oracle service requests for election outcomes, the likelihood of marriage proposals, winning the lottery. The octopus, 8 legs undulating in seawater domain, floats undaunted by fame, while we stretch for something to believe in, something to fill the hollow in our lives with a strategy more solid than chance. We open our fists to the palm reader, who scans the seams in our hands for hidden significance. We subscribe to the horoscopes, revel when the solar eclipse erects Libra's love life, when the alignment of Mars and Saturn leads Sagittarius to new employment. We watch for signs and omens, premonitions and prophecy, and just when we despair that nothing is worthy of faith, another miracle juts through the clouds, and the odds tell us this one is real. Like the octopus, 100% correct in his predictions. But if you can't believe the mollusk, there's a parakeet in Singapore eager to reveal your fate. I thought I would read a couple of newer poems too. My daughter is 30 years old, almost 30. And recently we found a photo of her when she was probably 6. She's always very, very creative, and she had designed I don't even know what you'd call it. She had designed herself out of marbles. She made the head, the arms and the legs, the face, and she had made this masterpiece of herself. It was very symmetrical, and all the colors were all lined up. It was just so, so fun. And then, of course, I'm starting to think that's how she sees herself at 6. And you guys know, as we get older, we sometimes don't see ourselves as beautiful as we did when we were younger. So I wrote this poem. This poem has a lot of words about marbles, particularly one, a mibster, which is the person that plays the game marbles. So that's in there. Also, various names of marbles like Aggies and Alleys and Ducks and Swirlies. And so you'll hear a bunch of kind of weird words, but just know that's connected to the game of marbles and marbles themselves. So the name of the poem is Marbles. My daughter designs herself with marbles. Blue pearlies for eyes, and oxblood for nose. Her mouth a line of comets and galaxies for the orbit of words she speaks. The shape of her body on the carpet, colorful, unique, a Picasso by Mibster. I hope she remembers this when the world takes a turn at the art of her image. Her head shimmers like a star to claim a future she doesn't yet name. Onion skin and corkscrew, mica and swirly, the thin places that can haunt her, the turns she can't predict. Her tiger arms are strong enough to hold her on this ledge of self, sturdy enough to knuckle down with her silver steely fingers studded with pale, cleary fingertips. Her legs are long, dragonfly and cricket, butterfly, bumblebee. She's solid and steady, run-worthy, nimble enough for masher and croc, red devil, cat's eye. My daughter lies on the carpet, poses beside her other body. I measure her against my fears. What girls will face circling the outside of a ring. She laughs and rakes her hand through the alleys and aggies, ducks and taws. The sunburst of her face scatters to the wall, and she lets them roll. I gather them into a pile, guard them fiercely. I don't want to tell her yet. This world always plays for keeps. So this is a very new poem, and I wrote it. You guys probably remember a few months ago, there was a shooting in a church in Smyrna. One of my friends was at the service during that incident, and she told me all about what happened and how she felt. And so I wrote a poem about it. And the poem's name is Begonia. And begonia is a plant, and so I'm kind of tying in this plant to this incident. Begonia. After the incident at church, you pay more attention to the garden, especially the plant growing wild in the dirt beside the manse. Wide, well-veined leaves of soft green, but blood red on the reverse. Weeks ago you thought begonia, but waited until the delicate pink blooms lifted out of the fold to name it. You dropped to your knees to study the botany of begonia and wonder about the need to name everything, to label it. And so much is unknowable. Ordinary, steady on one side, bloody on the other. You still have nightmares about the shooter, who everyone said was a swell guy until they saw the reverse of him. The dead woman in the parking lot, the pastor with bullets in his arms. How can you name the flight that took your legs, even as your heart pleaded, go back, find your friends? You confess courage is two-sided, fragmented, a label only found in the dirt. You kneel in the drifting shade and try to understand yourself, which means to understand humanity, which cannot be understood. No matter what name you give its wildest part, the hard, blunt face of its blooming. So this poem is kind of new as well. I had a conversation with a friend that had some issues with domestic abuse. And a long time ago, it was my husband who was living in an apartment, and he heard abuse happening in the apartment next door to his. So with my friend's story fresh in my mind, and then that memory came back to the surface, I wrote this poem. It's called If You Know What's Good for You. But I don't. So I move a little closer to the wall to hear my neighbors making love. soft moans against a steady rocking. I sense, or maybe I just imagine, love in the room beyond the too thin barrier between us. This is the apartment where I swore I'd keep to myself, stay hidden, not learn anyone's name or share my own, not open the door to anyone needing a teaspoon of vanilla extract, AAA batteries, a light bulb. But I don't know what's good for me, and her name, my neighbor, is Sue, and right now, Sue is loving her boyfriend, and from the sound of it, being loved back. I wrap my arms around myself and rock with them and think about Sue just yesterday, with the blue bruised imprint of a hand around her thin arm, asking if I could lend her $10. I dug in my purse, found 15, pressed it into her palm, just a little too long for her not to know how thin these walls are, how fist to flesh thuds darkly and breaking glass slices the night, how if you know what's good for you can echo for months in your head, maybe even years, because we don't, Sue. We never do.
Let me just do, I'm going to do 2 more.
So I've been writing a lot of postcard and letter poems to various people in my life. This one is to my sister Laura, who about 10 years ago was fighting non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Also in these poems, I always put a place with them that kind of speaks to the relationship. And in this poem, the place is Eureka Springs, Arkansas, which was built upon springs that were supposed to have healing powers. And so the healing is important in this poem. Postcard to Laura from Eureka Springs. The Ozarks push outward and upward, and on the ledge this town clings like ivy. They say water from the springs will heal, and when I say what ailment exactly, they answer everything from arthritis to blindness. Should I throw myself in, dear Laura, the way we cannonballed from the diving board at the YMCA pool, immerse my body in magic so that you can touch my skin and be healed too? I walk the broken sidewalk to the shops on Spring Street. Sailor's Luck tattoo, crystal water beads, Scarlett's lingerie, and curiosities. And wish you were here to drag me into the mystic moon psychic shop and buy tarot cards and deal our future out in front of us. What would we find, Laura, but a ribbon of longing which we pull from our throats and wear around our wrists like scars? You were afraid to want too much, but I want to believe the future can taste like ginger, like almonds, and can heal our ruined bodies with whatever shred of faith we have left in us. And my last poem, find it. References the two most common subjects that poets write about, death and love. This is called Epiphany, and this poem wants to talk about everything except death and love. Because that's, death and love are awful, common. So anyway, Epiphany. Let this be a poem in which no one thinks about death. No starving children, explosives in backpacks, crimes plotted at dawn. Let's think instead about the moon streaming gold against a singular snow, little chirps the sparrows give on their way to gather thistle seeds, the acrobatic delight of falling leaves. And let this be a poem in which no one thinks about love. No one drowns in the pools of jeweled eyes or drinks promises from a lover's mouth. Let's think about different passions. Running across meadows full of poppies, the cold, smooth surfaces of river stones. Let's think about the red roof of a barn, how the sun burnishes the tin. Let's think about the first breath we took this morning on our way to brush our teeth, how jeans feel on our thighs, how we love rituals. But no, not love. We weren't going to talk about that. Let's just sit here and think about nothing and let the clatter of our mind dissipate in the stillness. And for one slow moment, be aware of our skin, how it contains us, how the brush of a feather's thinnest fringe can make us shiver. Thank you guys so much.
That was so powerful. Thank you, Sandy. Just amazing. Thank you. Would anybody else like to read? Yeah, come on. Hey.
Thanks. In the narrow scoop of the wooden stool, my body at rest, my mind a spool. Thoughts radiate, membranes roll down to cool. Memories lost, obedience a standard state rule. Watchtowers perch, liberties taken, a prisoner now, a fool. Mysteries progress, and the mystics rule. The preacher, the hipster, a philosopher, a mule. On the pyramid perched, the liberator, a spectator. One more. This one's called Mate. Mate, don't be driven by hate. It's just a debate. With unfounded fury, given your mental state, you dash through that gate. Don't take that bait and choose to replicate the moronic red state. Wait, mate, before it's too late. Vanity and pride, mankind you shall divide. In the mirror your glowing skin knows not what lurks within. Pumped and pure, your thoughts afloat, seemingly flaccid. But deep within, your ribonucleic acid, red and so damn rancid. Black swastika on your chest and silver cross upon your neck. Blinded by your fury, you shuffle in a hurry. Your palms soaked with juice from your cranium. Fueled by Pluto, you feel more like uranium. I can hear your grill rattle, your chest out ready for battle. The hate that you dissipate, stop Nate before it's too late. With your arch nemesis on the premises, folly and virility of senses. The stars and stripes, counted for men fair and grounded. Hate we berate, your ignorant mind needs to be pounded. The Union Jack, not meant for a Siam crack. Lift your goddamn soul higher than your nation's imposed pole. We've passed the ban on the clown of the clan. It was history, now it's part of the plan. To society you are a shame, your mama's not to blame. Don't let that seed gestate. Be done with hate, just liberate. Stop, mate, you want to make me regurgitate. Thanks.
That was so fun. Thank you. So I'd like to read a couple more if that's okay. I'm going to read Carnival. Okay. This one actually is a true story. I was in the 1980s in Cartersville, Georgia, where I'm from. I was taking a break from college and saw this carnival and just wrote down what I saw, literally. So, okay. It doesn't come often, only once a year, in early May, to the parking lot in front of the abandoned storefronts of a dying shopping center. It consists of mostly red machines, and poorer people afford it, except for the man who videotapes his properly clad lovely wife and daughter on the stiff merry-go-round. He turns it off to save film when they leave his frame of reference, choosing not to capture the thin blonde girl waiting for the magic to hit her on a cold plastic pony, white, with a green garland painted on its neck each time she passes before his waiting smile. Her slump is a little deeper, rounder in the turn of her head, opposite dot on a silly, cruel circle, counterclockwise. A black man walks softly in long shorts with a pink sailboat on them, white striped turquoise muscle shirt, and black sunglasses. Brave. Boys make fun and practice karate kicks in the air behind him, and his friends fluctuate as if within his personal cloud 11, adding weight to his graceful life. A girl pushes at them, tells them to stop picking at him behind his back, making fun. They head toward the swinging twin bullet ride, which will twist their reality up and down and sideways, and their screams come from the bullet with the rebel flag attached, flashing clear white bulbs. Spinning, losing to the machine and gravity pulled from their insides, they let go with all hands. Corn dogs and hot dogs, the couple with the faded loose clothes, young, old, and weary, head to the red fence to enter. She almost ahead of his reluctant but complying steps. There is escape. Sun streaks out like in movies about God sending messages above it all, out of context, outdated symbolically. No one looks up. It returns behind tomorrow's rain clouds coming in. There is only one little girl on an automobile go-around, pretending to drive a masculine red truck instead of the sports car, bus, motorcycle, or sedan, soft and curly brown hair turning in the wind towards Daddy's face. At night it will be an otherness for them. Next week it will be gone. All right, and this one is from, let me look, 1999. Way back when. So again, it's December, Dialectics and Physics. 60-minute universe. The physics of the art dialectic, Newton's random apple Eve, science contemplating the mind contemplating itself, like the flow where the scientist can't know the frontier of the brain juice. A string of cubes where each year lives, where each movie is a grain of sand, compared to the whole of experience, which is carried forward, unum, hourglass, time glass, cubes. The dialectic of philosophy and art, when art is part of the soul, and the soul breathes experience. But the artists lived in different centuries. They just missed each other. Somehow they converse, originate and respond, what bursts original and what from the hearing sense is absorbing, avant-garde, native, and movements. Libraries holding voices dry with spines. Galleries present associations through your eyes. Magnify silence and sounds in response, like fragments from the depths of the subconscious coming through the wire. Or colonial mirrors of the payors in fine paint. El Greco showing their eyes soulful. Cortázar speaking from the side of the bench photo, curls and spirals in his words himself. A pearl is formed of an outline with one crescendo, decrescendo, creche. Jesus is born of a December 2nd where joy lives, an instant. A grain of sand, a grain of saint, a piece of salt, saltpeter piece. Love mixed with all the pain of all those who have died for nothing. And the love is perfect compost, wherein new babies form pearl bubbles at breast, yet it weighs. Incandescent in the sky in winter, broken opalescent lavender ices. The winter glaze in doom's eyes is shock still, milk, curdle, cold, and breathing something still survives. It is ghost living within you amid laughter and traffic gurgling. A leaf falls spiraling with variable factors. Mass, shape, position on limb, angle on limb, gravity, air current on start, currents during fall, this barring people, cars, tree limbs, other leaves, chance, the odd candelabra. As light as smoke, as heavy as that smoke from a cigarette, slowly spirals, hangs in the air, and falls. Your breath into it steady creates a lower stream, which causes smoke to stretch itself and curl like a cat's back. Or suddenly, like a thought stream snaps, a snowflake melts. Anybody else want to read? Go for it, yeah. Shawn Stallings. Yay.
Testing. Chance Chambers likes to tell this story that I got him started in poetry readings because about 20 years ago he used to show up with all of his stuff in a notebook and just not get on stage. So one day I just grabbed one and went on stage and read it, and he said I gave him the confidence to start reading. So in that tradition, since he can't be here, I'm going to read one of his poems, or actually two of his poems. They're short. This is by Chance Chambers, and it's called October Song Number 3. It's a little early, but I like it. October rises on the breath of summer's ghosts, walks the midway of a county fair named Purgatory, drinks the last of my gin, making room on the bar for cider and resignation. Let's make this holiday holy. A baby pumpkin king, a messiah with arms stretched out into bat wings, wise witches and skeleton saints. Let's talk about painted leaves and how they crunch under our boots and tennis shoes. Let's talk about how we hate corporate coffee houses. Yay, Flatrock. Then steal away to take pumpkin spice communion alone. Let's breathe the cinnamon breaths of October until our lungs are full of ash and hope for the ghosts of another season. And this is also by Chance Chambers. It doesn't have a title. I never learned to dance. The rhythm never rose with whiskey steam from beneath the asphalt where my feet were lucky to even walk up to you. I almost learned to sing on the way to Memphis, but choked on cotton candy truth along Lakeland's secret midway. The drinking thing I practiced until I stumbled with grace and threw up with finesse. But my greatest accomplishment was collecting. Just let go, she said. I've never let go of anything in my life. Every beautiful, painful, absurd, cinematic, mediocre, and stellar moment is rolled up in newspaper obituaries and wedding announcements. Every kiss, whisper, embrace, tear, wince, and half smile loops on a summer wind worn driven scream somewhere on my way back from Memphis. Tomorrow is haunted, and my tongue tastes like goodbye. Regret and hope try to dance on a twisted muscle just right of my spine.
Thank you for doing that, Shawn. That was beautiful. And that's right. Actually, next month is going to be Christine Hall on the 22nd. And then the fourth Saturday of October will be Chance Chambers. And just take it one more time. Yeah? Come on.
Hi again. This wasn't written by me, but it was written by my mom, who seen me struggle since a young child with self-acceptance and mental illness. So she wrote this 13 years ago to kind of heal her daughter. It's called Me. I am the blood of the motherland. I am the blood of the fatherland. I am me. The birth of a father from the motherland. The birth of a mother from the fatherland. I am me. I am neither white nor black. I am me. I am a daughter. I am a sister. I am me. Heart filled with love. I am. I am me. Educated well. I am. I am me. Whatever I like to be, I am me. I am no other. I am just me.
Thank you, Ella. It's so special that your mother wrote that. It's beautiful. Anybody else want to read? Should I read another one? You guys got time? Yeah?
Let's see what I got.
Read that.
Oh, let's see.
This one's called Field and Pond, and it's to summer. We're still in summer. It's so beautiful. Fresh egg embryo sun, a pale yellow morning chases squirrels chasing each other around the scratchy pines. Tiny drops, clear heavens bloom, showing dome spectrums. Every wildflower small and pink, yellow and tall plume waving. Golden tips, wild grasses fill a field. Blue bachelor's buttons, cool stars, horseflies not yet risen above them. Ticking birds ring the field from their trees, and the mourning dove infrequent and shy, the spider weaving silver fine threads, the path through to the pond, walking through webs in the woods, green stained glass leaves. The dock we all sat on, talked late at night, swam to cut the heat, floated, fish nibbling our legs and toes. Concentric light rain circles, water bugs skating, crickets sustaining time. Thank you so much to Sandy for being our feature poet today. That was wonderful. You were very powerful. And if nobody else wants to read, anybody else? Just looking. Okay, we're going to close it down. Thank you so much for coming. And we're going to have a group photo of all the poets after this, if you'd like. If you're cool. Okay. Thank you so much, and come see us again next time.